Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales is the 5th installment of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. We've had 5 of these movies now. Jeesh. And this movie once again stars Johnny Depp and Geoffrey Rush, but it also has a few new actors like Brendan Thwaites, I think his name is. And this movie is basically about how Captain Jack Sparrow and a bunch of other people are basically looking for this trident of Poseidon that can break curses in the ocean. Jack Sparrow is looking for it, Brendan Thwaites' character is looking for it, the new witch character, I forget the name of, is looking for it, Barbossa is looking for it. Everyone in this movie is looking for this trident of Poseidon because it can break certain curses, and it's going to be very useful to them in a lot of different complicated ways and a really complicated story, and it's another Pirates movie. Yay! Guys, the first Pirates of the Caribbean is one of my favorite silly adventure movies of all time. I think it's right up there with The Princess Bride as a crazy, insane, over-the-top adventure movie. It's not trying to be realistic, it's not trying to be dark, it's just a silly, fun movie with some balance of serious aspects in that movie. It's such a fun movie, it's so witty and surprising. Literally everything in that movie felt unpredictable. It was a plot that kept moving so fast and it was so exciting and it was something new from Disney. We'd never seen a movie like that before. And as a lot of people know, the franchise sort of started getting worse and worse as every sequel came out. Dead Man's Chest I actually think is a good movie, but the story wasn't the best. It was really complicated and there was a lot of things you weren't able to really follow or care about, but that movie was still a really fun movie. There are some amazing aspects of that movie, and 3 and 4 were kind of just forgettable, disposable Pirates movies. They both have the really good moments in there, but a lot of the time, they're not very good. I think easily Curse of the Black Pearl is the best movie, and as they've gone on, they got kind of worse and worse, unfortunately. So I was very skeptical about Pirates 5, because obviously each successive movie has been not as good as the previous one, so I was sort of very skeptical, but it was also, part of me was hoping that the franchise would go back to its former glory. I thought people would finally realize what was so great about the franchise and actually have a story that's easy to follow, not overly complicated, and have the story not be way too dark and confusing. I wanted it to be like the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and does it do that? Sort of? I'd say this sequel is the best Pirates movie since Dead Man's Chest, but as a lot of people know, that's not really saying that much. There are things to really like in this movie. I definitely think it's better than 3 and 4, but there are some aspects of this movie that really bring it down, but I still actually kind of had a fun time with this movie, surprisingly. Because the critics panned it so harshly, I was worried that this would be the worst Pirates movie of them all. And it's like, after 3 and 4, you can't really... It was like, I can't imagine it getting lower than that. Let's go through the things I liked first. Jack Sparrow is amazing in this movie. Johnny Depp, throughout all the Pirates movies, has so much charisma. He's so funny. He got an Oscar nomination for the first Pirates movie, and he deserved that. And he's still playing this character today. It's his signature role, and he is great in this movie. He's so much fun. One of the complaints I had about him, though, is that he's not quite as... He doesn't have as much humanity as he did in the other film. The other movies he was crazy and over the top and silly, but he did have a humanity to him. He's not bad in Pirates 5. I really like him in this movie. There are some incredible moments with Jack Sparrow in this movie. I just want a little bit more humanity behind the character in this movie, but I still loved the character. And also, Geoffrey Rush, who returns as Barbossa, was great. He was so good in this movie. He's like, I always loved the character of Barbossa. I think he's one of the best things about the Pirates movies, along with Jack Sparrow, and I thought he was amazing in this movie, especially the banter between Jack Sparrow and Barbossa. If they made a movie just about Jack Sparrow and Barbossa and got rid of the rest of the cast, I would go see it, because those characters, their banter together is the best thing ever. It's like, Barbossa is one of the best things about this entire franchise, and the banter between them was really well done. The action in this movie is all fantastic. The movie is visually stunning. Every shot in this movie makes it seem like, yeah, this movie cost a lot to make. This movie looks incredibly expensive because of the special effects, and everything in this movie looks like it's so expensive. Like, this movie must have had one of the biggest budgets of this year so far, because this movie just looks incredible. There are so many scenes where a bunch of characters are in a digital environment, and it's like, you can't tell that it's green screen. It looks real. It looks fantastic. The visuals in every single Pirates movie, and this one, are all incredible. There wasn't a single shot where it looked like green screen or the special effects looked bad. They blended the special effects in so well. And the action in this movie, I think, is some of the best Pirates action we've seen since Dead Man's Chest. The action in this movie was so great. Another problem I have about 3 and 4 is that the action scenes weren't really memorable. Yeah, the story wasn't the best in Dead Man's Chest, but the action in that movie was absolutely fantastic. It was just like the first movie. It was over the top. It was silly, rightfully so. This movie, they go back to the cartoonish, over the top, silly action scenes, and I loved it. The intro action scene is one of the best Pirates action scenes I've seen of the entire franchise. I think it's one of the best action scenes we've seen in the entire franchise. I thought it was so great. I'm not going to spoil anything about it, but it was so over the top and so silly and so ridiculous. And I loved it, because that's what the first movie was known for, being so over the top and ridiculous. The comedy in this movie also mostly really works. The comedy is hilarious. There are so many references to the other Pirates movies, like the first one and Dead Man's Chest were the ones I like the most, because those are my favorite of the franchise. Every time they reference something from Curse of the Black Pearl or Dead Man's Chest, I was like, oh, that's hilarious, that's great. And usually a lot of the humor in this movie is really, really good, especially between Jack Sparrow and Barbossa. Characters like Mr. Gibbs were really cool to see. Every returning character in this movie that we've seen from the other Pirates movies all got their time to shine, because Will Turner does appear in this movie. He's barely in it. Don't go to this movie expecting to see tons of Will Turner, because he's barely in the movie. But for what he had to do, I thought he did a really good job. I loved his aspect of the story, and he's integral to the plot, but he's not in the movie a lot. What Will Turner had to do in this movie, though, I actually thought was one of the best things about the movie. The ending of this movie is really emotional and it's really great, and Will Turner is easily one of the best things about this movie, even though he's barely in it. His story and his aspect to the movie was one of the things I really loved, and I took away from the movie. Like, the ending of this movie was the thing that stuck in my brain. I was like, oh my gosh, that's the thing I love the most about this movie. The ending, the last scene, I'm not going to spoil anything about it, was really, really good. But now I gotta segue into my cons, because there are a lot of them, unfortunately. Like I said, none of the Pirates sequels are able to live up to the greatness of the first movie, but I do think this is one of the better Pirates sequels. I think it's probably my third favorite Pirates movie under the first and the second. Definitely better than 3 and 4, but there are some cons in this movie that were a little bit disappointing to see. Particularly the newest characters were the biggest con for me. I felt like the new characters were just kind of fine. They weren't hateable, they were just kind of like, okay, your characters, and every time it focused on these characters, I didn't care at all. Brendan Thwaite's character, I think I said that guy's name right, who used to be in Gods of Egypt in 2015, is in this movie. He plays a big role, and it's like, I didn't care about his character at all. He has a link to the other Pirates movies. I don't want to spoil it, even though you probably already know about it because it went all over the internet. He has a link to the other Pirates movies, and he's integral to the story, but I felt like his character was so boring. He was kind of just a hand-me-down Will Turner. He was just a repeat of the same character without the same charisma that Orlando Bloom brought to the role. I felt like his character was just disposable, and I didn't care about him at all. Same with what's-her-face, that other girl in the movie that's supposed to be like a witch. Everyone calls her a witch because she's really smart. I didn't really care about her character at all either. There are aspects of this character that could have been interesting, but they don't go into it very much. There's a part where she mentions her past a little bit, and I was like, okay, there's something, let's go with that. But it's barely mentioned in the movie, and it's not fleshed out really, so it's kind of just like, okay, that was disappointing. And I know a lot of people have been really liking Javier Bardem in this movie. I really like him in Skyfall. I think he's a very good actor. He's a really good Bond villain. But in this movie, I thought he was just fine. I don't really understand why everyone loves him so much in this movie, because I thought he was just fine. I think Davy Jones and Barbossa were much more memorable villains of the Pirates franchise, because Salazar was just kind of there. He had good motivation, but I didn't find his character memorable at all. He was just kind of like, I want to find Jack Sparrow, and he was just there to be an antagonist. I didn't find his character very interesting, unfortunately, especially because he has a good backstory, but it's just like, there's nothing really there to him, I didn't feel like. I felt like he was just another crazy, over-the-top villain, and to me, he didn't have the same charisma that Davy Jones and Barbossa had in the first two movies. And just like the other Pirates movies, the plot of this movie is all over the place. There's so many characters, so many crazy things and plot points constantly being thrown at you. The plot is really confusing. You don't remember why a lot of the characters are there. There are so many things in this movie that should have been fleshed out that were just sort of glossed over. They were barely even mentioned in the movie. A lot of things felt rushed in this movie, and the plot, once again, like the other Pirate sequels, is unfortunately honestly does get really messy and muddled at times. It felt like the plot was just all over the place, and through all the action scenes that I was seeing, I just cared about the action. I didn't really care what was going on with the plot, really. So whenever they focused on the plot, it was just like I didn't care because it was so convoluted. Another really disappointing thing about the movie is that there are a lot of things that are predictable in this movie. There are definitely some things that mirror Curse of the Black Pearl, like they're trying to bring back some old things from Curse of the Black Pearl to sort of get you into the movie and sort of call back to that movie everyone loved. And fortunately, as a result, a lot of things in this movie were really predictable, especially towards the end. There was a big thing that happened, I'm not going to spoil it, that was really predictable from like halfway through the movie. I called that it was going to happen. It was just kind of like, okay, great. It's a very predictable movie. There are not as much surprises in this movie as there was in the other Pirates movies, which is kind of unfortunate. And also, I said most of the humor hits. Most of it. And it does. A lot of the humor in this movie is really good, but there are a lot of times in this movie where I felt like the humor was kind of just like, eh? It was fine. I didn't really get a laugh from some of the jokes in this movie, but it is mostly really, really good. So despite a plot with tons of stuff going on and tons of characters, you sort of forgetting what the characters' motivations are, and you sort of like, sort of zoning the entire story out of your brain. And despite the new characters not being very good, they were really disappointing, and despite some stuff being predictable and some of the humor not working, I did actually kind of have a fun time with this Pirates movie. I think it's the best one since Dead Man's Chest, and there are a lot of things to like in this movie. The action is really good, a lot of the returning characters from the other Pirates movies are really good, the ending is really good, but like I said, the story isn't the best, it's all over the place, it's incredibly messy at times, and there are things in this movie that could have just made it a better Pirates movie. I think this had potential to be the best one since the first one, but unfortunately, there are a lot of problems in this movie that weren't quite perfect. If they had one more draft of the screenplay of this movie, I feel like it could have been the best sequel since the first movie. I'm gonna give Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales a B-. But still, this movie I was very skeptical about, but part of me was hoping that this would be another really good Pirates movie, and there is a lot of bad things about this movie, but there are some good things, so I'm sort of middle of the road with this movie. If you're a humongous Pirates fan of every single Pirates movie that come out, you like them no matter what, you'll probably dig the crap out of this movie, but if you're a person like me that felt like the sequels could have been better, you might not like it as much as that. Alright guys, if you like my review of Pirates of the Caribbean Dead Men Tell No Tales, be sure to like this video, be sure to subscribe, be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time. Bye bye.